Miriam Joy, and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to introduce you to a brand new product that we've really been working on introducing, and we're so excited about, and it is called a Scorch marker. Now before you get discouraged, let me tell you all the wonderful things that you can do with it. So as you can see, it is not a Woodburner but a pen, and it's really great. It's got a 3mm tip. We have a round end and we have a chiseled end, and those just simply change by doing that. To also prep, you're kind of going to press down on that, and you'll see that as I do some of the projects going here to get it ready to go. And you should see the marker and the, let's just call it ink or liquid, coming out, and that is what you're going to be working with. We are going to shake it beforehand and make sure that you kind of put this thing that's in it that it kind of falls to the bottom. It doesn't stay in the middle. If you ever notice that your liquid's not coming out, kind of shake that down a little bit and then it will come right out. So we put this on. It's easy to do. They say you can even process it in the sun, which is really nice, and there's all kinds of fun things you can do with it. It's safe, it's non-toxic, it starts to work in about 30 seconds. There's just so many things that we can do with it. I do tell you that the best thing to use for this is a hot air gun, and I've used the embossing tool a lot. This is a lot hotter. You want at least 1200 wattage, and this is more than that. There's a low and a high setting, and I use both on that depending on the type of wood I'm using or what I am working on. There's some that it takes, you want a little bit hotter, and there's some that you don't. And we have one at Miriam Joy, and it also comes with tips. So I can put this tip that points directly down. So that is something that we do. We're going to put it in one of our Super Luxe kits as well. So that's something to think about as you're working with the Scorch marker. But don't think about it just using it with the things we're going to work with today. If you're a wood burner, there are things that you can incorporate with it using your burner. You can do the backgrounds and just heat it up a little so you get a light texture or a light color, solid color. You also can paint on top of the areas that are really dark. You could come in with white and paint on top. You can shade it with other colors. Don't think about just using it yourself just for that. The other thing you can do is you also can come in and you can start to remove some as well. Carve that area out. So there's lots of things that you can do with it. Don't get stuck on just one idea. I will be trying to do some gourds for you, but I just have ran out of time right now. I will tell you, if you're going to use a gourd, use a soft gourd, not a hard gourd. And you have to sand the entire hard part of the skin of the gourd completely off before you start to do this so that it can absorb. I will use that method, not maybe quite as severe, when you're applying leather dye or ink dye. So it's just kind of the same thing, just really sanding that so that you can get it on really well. So we're going to take a look at some of the other things and projects that I have done with it. One of the first projects I started with was just a simple wooden leaf that you can get real inexpensively at probably any of the craft stores or Walmart or Dollar Tree, any of those. I got a 6-pack, and I think these would look really great in a garland. But I'm going to show you. This was Woodburn first, or excuse me, Scorch Pen. So, well, remember, if I'm talking Woodburn, we're probably using the Scorch Pen. I've got to get used to saying that. And so I did this, made my lines first, and then after I made them really dark, I used a transparent color on them and just brought those to life. I've got some pearlized stuff in this one, so it's you see some shiny on that. That is why. I did these also with leather dye. So Miriam Joy is back in the studio and her hands are colored in paint, so that is why. The pen did not do it. It does not. I can't even feel a residue on my hands or anything like that when I'm working with it and changing the tip back and forth. So these were just a real simple fun one, and we're going to be doing some of these for videos. I hope to put out one a week to get started with, so we'll be doing some fun little ones, and then we'll get a little bit more complicated using our Scorch Pen. When I was getting ready to start to shoot this video, I only wanted to get about 5 different objects to show you guys. And I started playing and playing and playing, and before I knew it, I had 15 different items. So it's a lot of fun. You're going to just get addicted to it, and you're going to think, what else can I put it on? What else can I try? The best, I think, to start out with is wood, of course. And the nice thing with wood is you can use stencils. And there's 2 ways that you can use the stencils, and I'll kind of explain the difference. If you're using a stencil that's kind of too small to put your tip in, then kind of lay it on top of your item and draw it on lightly with a pencil. If you need to erase anything of that, you can use your gum eraser to take that off. Now, if you don't have to do that and it's big enough, you can just simply put it right on your project and do it that way. The best way is to use stickable stencils, or to use a stencil spray that glues it down to your project while you're working on it, and then after you take it off, you don't have any part that has bled out. So that's real important to know. But I really liked the feathers on this, and I gotta work on my script, but you can really do the really nice script, the calligraphy. If you've got that knack, then you'll make it look way better than I have done here. But as you can see, I have lightly burned and darker burned in my feathers. I've left some areas lighter and some darker. So the longer you apply the heat gun, the darker the certain areas are going to get. And I had written this in pencil, and it's completely covered up because I went so dark on that. One of the fun things to do, or one of the current trends right now, is the wood rounds as wedding tokens or gifts that people do for their weddings. So you could make these Mr. and Mrs. Sagan, or whoever's name that you need to put there, and just make it nice and fancy. If you had somebody that was really well with calligraphy, those would go so fast, and it would be so much better than wood burning those. If you have a problem with that, you can also customize templates. You'd want to get the sticky kind, but you'd have to get one for each one that you did. So that's a couple of things that you can do with the wood parts. One of the fun things that I like to do is use my little metal cutouts, and then you can trace around them and heat those up. I have the trees, and when I'm doing the trees, I may do one way and flip it over and do it the other way, and make them all different sizes. And then I just heated up the background. I wanted it darker around the moose. And I also was going to carve a little bit, and I'm going to probably do a little bit more right in there. I came back in and floated my color in. You don't have to. You could leave it totally wood colored if you like that better. But I wanted to kind of show you a totally different way of using it into your backgrounds. And this is one of the pieces, you know, you could bring the paint in over the top. I've seen them use it for shading and for fur, and then they bring in a white liner with paint and line it to make fur. So, you know, think of it different ways like that. This is just a goofy one that we did on a little coyote gourd. You'd still have to sand those and kind of rough them up because it has to be able to absorb in. Another fun thing that we have is our little key chains, and that was just so simple. That literally took me like 2 minutes to do, and then I just added some bling to it, and I would probably go ahead and do both sides to that and just have fun with those. Those were just little tiny stencils that I did, but you could do those just as easy by hand as well. You can also use this on paper, cardboard, any of those kind of fun things. This is kind of like, I guess, the paper mache, or I'm not quite sure what you would call it, but you can find those. And this went on so easy and it popped out so fast. The design was wonderful. These are going to be, I can't wait to just go to the store and find these type of items to do some fun things, color them afterwards with an iridescent color, and the design will pop through and put some rhinestones or stuff like that. So I'll think of some fun things and we'll show you a class on that one. But it just, and why would I want to do this instead of paint it? Because it is so fast. I literally set a stencil on top. I didn't glue it on or anything. I ran my pen through it and heated it, and it heated up just like that, and it was done. If you had to paint it, you'd have to go get your paint, your water, your paintbrush, and then you'd have to paint it, which would take time, and then you have to let it dry. So you've got time. Time is a big issue for a lot of us. So think about that when you're thinking, you know, is it really worth it? It's just so much fun. I just took a piece of cardboard. I thought this would really be cute to hang in a little girl's room, or just on a door hanger even for her. I just went around the edges with color to make it pop. You can make cards with this and then put your color behind your cards so that they're not plain, just like you would do a normal card, and add your embellishments to it. This was a stencil, and I did this part by hand, and I just added a little bit of glitter to it. Just a fairy, you gotta have glitter, right? Glitter's great. And I just did a little crazy bag, just real fast, and just drew some trees. I threw a moon in there, but I should have put it up higher. One of the first things I was just kind of playing with, and I literally just sat down and did that in 5 minutes. I just took my trees and just made them bigger squiggly lines each time I went down. It was really, really simple. So this was one of my favorite projects. I love baskets. I've done them with wax designs, and I thought this would be really fun just to put a real simple design on it. It doesn't have to be hard or complicated at all. And I just did the flower on top and then brought it down with the leaves. I did the burning first, and then I watered down some acrylic paint and just put it in. I did float a little bit of color of orange and a little darker green, and just some red dots, like a barn red. Now the one thing I did notice is this wood is different than this wood. So this heats up and gets darker a little bit faster. So just be kind of aware of that. The more you play with it, the more you're going to understand it. The more I'm going to understand it. I still have a lot to learn, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy finding out all the fun things and the little quirks and really neat ideas of things to put it on and just have all kinds of fun. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a good time, and I hope you learned lots of exciting things and new to do with our Scorch marker. We are going to offer 3 different kits that will help you to get going on your way, just depending on what your need is. You can look for those at miriamjoy.com. Also, we're going to have a contest, so pay attention. It's going to be a $50 gift card to miriamjoy.com, our art supplies, and you can use that on anything you would like in our store. All you have to do is post a picture of what you have used your Scorch marker pen for, the project that you've used, and post that on our Facebook at Miriam Joy Gore Creations or Miriam Joy's Waxy Crafty Corner on Facebook. And as always, God bless and have a great day.